me, I feel energy. I feel energy. I feel energy. Every time you touch me, I feel energy. I feel energy. I feel energy. Every time you touch me, I feel energy. I feel energy. I feel energy. Every time you touch me, I feel energy. I feel energy. I feel energy. Every time you touch me, I feel the energy. I feel the energy. Every time you touch me, I feel the energy. I feel the energy. Every time you touch me, I feel the energy. Energy. I feel the energy. Every time you touch me, I feel the energy. Energy. I feel the energy. Every time you touch me, I feel energy. I feel energy. Every time you touch me, I feel energy. I feel energy. Every time you touch me, I feel energy. I feel energy. I feel energy. Every time you touch me, I feel energy. I feel energy. I feel energy. Every time you touch me, I feel the energy. I feel the energy. Every time you touch me, I feel the energy. I feel the energy. Every time you touch me, I feel the energy. Energy. I feel the energy. Every time you touch me, I feel the energy. Energy. I feel the energy.
Just like football, business moves fast. And when you need funding, there's no time to wait. At Fleximize, we keep things simple. No penalties, no red cards, just fast, flexible business loans. We only ask for the essentials and you'll get a decision within 24 hours. Once approved, the funds are in your account the same day. Fleximize, let's fund your goals.
Hello and welcome back to Matchday Preview Live, streaming live on X, YouTube, Facebook and Town TV. Proudly brought to you by the club's headline digital partner, Fleximize, the UK's award-winning lender offering fast, flexible business loans. Tonight, under the lights, Ipswich Town face Bristol City in the Sky Bet Championship. Fresh from Saturday's win over Portsmouth at Portman Road, the Blues head to Ashton Gate, full of confidence and hungry to deliver another big performance on the road. We've got all the latest pre-match news, updates and discussion coming your way, along with expert insight from our guests. Plus, it's your chance to get involved. Send in your questions for our guests and we'll be picking some out to read and discuss later in the show. It's all coming up on Matchday Preview Live. Well, hello and good evening. Welcome to Matchday Preview Live. Alongside me for tonight's show, we've got a couple special guests alongside me. First team player Connor Townsend and women's manager Joe Sheehan. Great to have you both here. Before we start talking about football, Connor, how's the injury? How are you coping?
Yeah, obviously had the surgery just after the season started. I'm now just obviously in the process of doing my rehab, which is obviously going to be long. But the club's been great with me, and the lads as well have been very supportive, and hopefully it'll fly by. Do
you still get to see the teammates in and around the changing room? You're still very much involved?
Yeah, I mean, 2 weeks after the surgery, I was sort of off feet and not in, but now I'm in most days, and obviously in and around the boys, which is good for me. Mentally to see the lads and be involved in a bit of a dressing room sort of banter is good for me. So yeah.
Joe, I had the pleasure of watching the game on Saturday alongside you, and then on Sunday, your girls delivered as well. I just want to check, how's the stressometer at the minute? Have you calmed down from the weekend? Your whoop story was brilliant.
Yeah, just about. Highest it's ever been. But yeah, an important game for us. Our first win of the season, and good platform for us to now build on.
And it's going to be a tough game tonight. We've got back-to-back wins here at Portman Road, but we're looking for a win on the road. And Bristol City flying high at fourth, but they've not won in two as well. So it's going to be a really good game this evening.
Yeah, I think it was a tight game last season. I think it was an evening game there as well on that occasion. And they've had a good start, sitting in a good position so far. It'll be a challenging game for us, but I think building on the last two home wins, hopefully go there and put in a really strong performance.
Connor, the game on Saturday does a lot to the players. It's a quick turnaround in the Championship. Bristol City's a bit of travelling. How much time do you get to prepare for a game when it's so close to the previous one?
Yeah, obviously there's a lot less time in between the games, and it's the lads will have been obviously recovering Monday and straight into prep for tonight's game. Personally, I actually preferred having midweek games as less training and less time to sort of think about all the bits in between, and you can just obviously lads concentrate on recovering and going again tonight. And I said just off air, obviously 3 games in a week, you can put 9 points on the board, and all of a sudden everything looks so much better. So hopefully we can go there and get 3 points.
Yeah, hopefully we can go to Ashton Gate and get 3 points. Right, we mentioned it earlier. We need you, the fans, to send in your questions to Connor and Joe. You can do that in the live chat or on social media using the hashtag Town TV, and we will be reading them out later on in the show. Right, on Saturday, Town made it back-to-back wins at home here at Portman Road with a 2-1 victory over Portsmouth in front of a packed crowd.
The sun is shining, the skies are clear, and hopefully this afternoon we shall be able to enjoy a full game of uninterrupted Championship football as Ipswich host Portsmouth. Well, Egley, Furlong, direct ball to Hurst, and actually with a hint of fortune the ball reaches Jens Kajusta, and Kajusta neat and tidy on the ball again in midfield, away from Kozlowski. Here's Philogene just outside the penalty area. He's done it again! He has done it again, Jaden Philogene! His rich vein of form at Portman Road continues! And Kajusta, that makes him really stand out in the Championship midfield. Furlong, ball down the right channel for Schmodix to chase. Schmodix will reach it before it goes out of play. Into Hurst, and Hurst got in. Here is Waller Egley. Crossfield, left-footed ball with his pinpoint for Kajusta. And Kajusta now into the penalty area on his right foot, and he just flicks it on. O'Shea beats Bishop to it. And now Hurst has found the flick on to Sam Schmodix, and Schmodix has the freedom of Portman Road into the penalty area. Schmodix cutting back, and he can't find the finish. Philogene, good spot, finds Matasiwa in midfield. Matasiwa in turn into Davis. Davis inside the box, across to Hurst. That is brilliant from Ipswich Town. Collected from Palmer and has to turn smartly away from Dazelle. And now the ball in behind for Ivan Adon. Adon up against Knight. Adon hits the base of the post. Swift with the corner from the far side, and it comes towards Pack. And Portsmouth have scored. Adon winning the ball in midfield, but that is game over. And Ipswich have held on.
Yes, Town made it back-to-back wins at Portman Road. Connor, I presume you saw the game. How impressed were you with the lads' performance?
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to see connections between the lads, and obviously we're a new team at the minute. There's a lot of new faces, and them connections sometimes take a bit of time to really start getting going. And I think you've seen it in full flow against Portsmouth, and it's exciting times.
Joe, it's definitely starting to click, isn't it? As Connor said there, a lot of players coming, a few going, but you can start to see that synergy forming within the team.
Yeah, and it takes time for players to spend time with each other on a training pitch and deliver the manager's expectations. But yeah, now we're starting to see the team really start to click, find flow in the game, and put together some really good work, and it's contributing to a lot of good chances and goals.
Connor, just tell us a little bit about Matasiwa and Kayuste in the middle of the park, because if I was on the opposition team, I wouldn't want to go up against those two. They're shaping the game really well, and they look really dominant in there.
Yeah, obviously, everyone knows what Jens can do. We're very lucky to have him at the club. And obviously, as always come in, and from the minute he joined in pre-season, you could see the standards that he had in training. And we knew we had a player on our hands. Obviously, the Championship's a difficult league, and coming from a foreign league to the Championship can be hard. It's a very physical league. It's fast-paced, and it can be unforgiving. And I think you see him really settling into that role, and they're both obviously brilliant players, and even with obviously Nacho coming off the bench as well, and Jack Taylor as well, we're definitely stacked in that area.
Well, let's take a look at the goals once more. They were so good. We want to see them twice, don't we? And one man who is on fire at the minute, Joe, is Jayden Philogene. Bagged a hat-trick against Sheffield United, and then he got things underway here. Just how impressed have you been with his start this season?
Yeah, playing with a lot of confidence. Certainly the hat-trick against Sheffield United's done him no harm, but I think Leaf, Connor will know more than anyone really playing that position, but I think the amount of times Leaf has made that unselfish run outside of him that's allowed him to cut in and cause the fullback a bit of a problem, has allowed Jayden to have options, and has been really clinical with his goals. So he's playing with a lot of confidence at the moment, and long may it continue.
What's he like in training, Connor? I got my head that he's just nutmegging, trying flicks and tricks, but obviously he's a very talented footballer.
Yeah, pretty much that, to be honest. Obviously, as a defender, he tries a lot of things, and especially in training, he tries it more. So obviously, the boys know how talented he is. We see it every day in training, and Joe touched on, obviously, Leaf and him seem to have got a really good partnership going on, and like we said, talked about them connections. It seems like they're working really well. So long way to continue.
Another connection we can talk about is Leif Davis, his ball across to George Hurst. We sat in there, and what did you say it was? It was a buffet ball.
Yeah, help yourself.
Help yourself. I love that. It's a buffet ball. So and for George as well, confidence. I was watching him play, and it wasn't quite ticking for him in the first bit, but to get that goal that he deserves and that confidence, that can only help him. Yeah,
it's put himself in a great position to finish that off, but I think his work rate's been tremendous, and I think we noticed that certainly in the first half, the demand on him to press really hard and go again on the goalkeeper, and goalkeeper goes direct, he's having to get back on side again, so he's putting in a lot of work without the ball, and obviously he's a fit lad, he covers a lot of ground, so I think the job he's doing both with and without the ball is a huge part of the team's success, but yeah, I'm sure he'll be really pleased that he's got himself in a really good position to tap home Leaf's cross.
And this place is becoming a bit of a fortress. It has over the years, certainly in the Championship as well, another 29,000 people in here on Saturday. How much do the players feed off that energy?
Yeah, it's massive. That's one of the things we was really disappointed with last season. We didn't capitalise on that home support, and part of staying up in the Premier League is you've got to win your home games. You've got to make it a tough place to come. So obviously the managers spoke about it in pre-season about getting back to making this place a fortress, and we've started like that, and hopefully we need teams to come here and come in and not want to come and play here.
And Saturday was special in so many ways. The crowd were treated to some really inspirational words from Jason Shetterly when he addressed the crowd at half-time. Let's take a look back at that moment.
Jason, great to see you. First of all, how are you? How's everything?
Wonderful. Thank you all very much for having me back. As many times I've been here, 4 years undefeated, so let's get ready.
We've loved having you back. How's this week been?
This week's been great. It's been great to meet all the new players. It's been great to talk to the staff, spend time here at Portman Road at the training ground. And my heart is here. This is my family, and I love it very much.
I mean, you mentioned it there. You told your story, and you've met the new players and staff. First of all, how has it been? And also, what do you make of the new team?
It's been wonderful to be able to share not only my story, but now we've had more, workshops on grit and running toward adversity and all the things that keep our heart and our culture and our values the same. And the new players, everybody's going to be very happy. They're the right piece. It's one heartbeat right now with this team, and it's going to be a great run. Yeah.
And you mentioned it there as well, undefeated when you're here.
Yeah.
Great to have that, right?
Yeah, so far 3 wins and 1 draw, and I know we're going to get 3 points today, so it's going to be a great afternoon.
And I've got to ask as well, we've seen you been on the golf course with some of the players this week.
Yeah.
Was that a lot of fun?
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Went to Stone Market with Clarkie and Greasy and Alex Palmer, and had great fun, and Alex Clark beat me.
Fantastic, great to hear. Well, look, we know the atmosphere at Broadman Road is truly magnificent. I'm sure you have a few words to say to the supporters, so I'll pass the microphone over to you. Take it away.
Yeah, I just want to say, everybody, thank you again. Let's get banging, Blue Army!
Such an incredible story from Jason there as well. And he's welcome down to Portman Road anytime with a record like that. Undefeated, absolutely brilliant. Joe, it's important to have people like that associated with the football club who can inspire and speak to so many people.
Yeah, an incredible man with an incredible story. Obviously comes over once, twice a year and delivers presentations to new players, to new members of staff. And every time he's been over to do that, I've always tried to nip in at the back and hear his story again, because I find it so motivating, so inspiring, so many life lessons there, and an incredible person with an amazing story. And we're one person we're so lucky and blessed to have associated with the football club.
And how valuable is that when he pops down to the training ground and comes and chats to you guys? What's it like for the players to meet someone so inspirational like Jason?
Yeah, obviously, his story is inspiring. Obviously when we first joined the club, the new lads, we obviously get to hear his presentation, and he talks about obviously his story and everything, and it can't not inspire you. And the culture within the club was one of the things that I spoke about last season. It was one of the biggest things. When I first joined, the culture within the club it impressed me the most. And Jason's a big part of that, and Mark spoke about Jason and how important he is to the club. And when he comes in, it gives everyone a lift, and it puts perspective on life.
And his visit ties into the running towards adversity message that's throughout this football club. What does that message mean to you, Joe?
Well, I think anyone who's come across his story knows the challenges he faced. And some of the unfortunate circumstances that he was dealt with. But I think that the way he sees his experience and his response to those moments and adversity is commendable. And I think that's one thing I've always taken away, is that he's always looked to put another foot forward. And the way he's responded to the accident, some of the challenges he's faced, is incredibly inspiring, and something that we've absolutely used in our own department. And there's been so much relevance to his story and where we're at, and some things that we can take away that we've used that's been hugely important.
And when you have your own challenges that you spoke to in the changing room, in the out on the pitch, how do you deal with them as a manager?
Well, I think we've got some great examples from Sunday, and we managed to pick up a brilliant result Sunday through how we responded to some of the adversity we faced, and a different scale clearly, but that's one thing we've always tried to do is respond really well to good things that happen and not so good things, and like I say, there's so many things that we've picked up from him throughout his journey that we found so valuable.
Well, it was a double-header weekend as Town Women took on Portsmouth as well, and they too picked up a valuable win. So, Joe, many congratulations on winning your first WSL2 game. I know the stressometer was a little bit high, but just sort of sum up that day for you.
Yeah, really important day for us. It's our first win. I think we've said it a couple of times now that getting your first win is really difficult, and the longer you go without it, the more difficult it is to get. We're an incredibly challenging division. To pick up an important home win as well on Sunday was really important, and had taken the lead, had been sort of pegged back with an equaliser just before half-time, to then go behind in the second half and then fight back again to score an equaliser and then a late winner was amazing for us. And delighted to get the first 3 points, something now to build on. We took a great point at Charlton last week, and hopefully now we can take some of that into going to Sheffield United this weekend.
Connor, over 1,000 of the Blue Army made their way to Colchester Stadium. Just how much does that show the unity between the men's and the women's team at this football club?
Yeah, it does. And I just touched on culture, and the women's team is a massive part of that. Since I joined, you can feel that, and it was great backing to obviously get over 1,000 there, and fantastic to see them get the first win. Yeah,
long may it continue, and we really do appreciate the support for both teams here at Ipswich. Let's have a look at the goals then from Town's first WSL 2 victory. Joe, Rihanna Dean got us off to a strong start. How important was that early goal in this game?
Yeah, it was a really neat goal, actually, built up down the left, a great delivery, in swinging cross off the left, and a really nice glanced header that found the back post. And our second goal come off the back of a really good cross as well, a bullet header from Natasha Thomas before Sophie Peskett got wiped out, and a great penalty to seal the win from Paige Peake.
How were your nerves at that point when that penalty was given and then converted?
Yeah, I was fine, to be honest. I mean, Paige practices penalties every day, so she's got a really good process. And I was delighted for her.
Wins at any level are so important with momentum. Connor, just how important can that first win be for the women's team?
Yeah, I think we spoke just before. Getting that first win is massive. It's almost like a confidence booster, and obviously a lot of in a lot of ways, but it reiterates that the girls deserve to be at this level, and they belong at this level, and it can be a bit of belief just getting that first one, and hopefully they can kick on now and get a few more good results.
What's going to be the biggest challenge for you, Joe, this season in the women's division? Obviously, I know last season you're used to being the champions, winning week in, week out. It's a different type of test for you and your players this season.
Yeah, I think one thing we've spoken about is that we've got to be really good across the board every week. And I think if you look at Sunday, we scored 3 really good goals, 2 from open play, but we've won a tight game with 2 brilliant goals. You're not really given much. There's no sort of sloppy error on own goals. They come pretty rare. So I think it's working really hard. It's preparing really well. It's being super organised, because without that level of preparation, without the hard work, we're not going to probably get the performances we need to pick up results. So it's pretty relentless. It's going to be really demanding across all of the staff and the players. And like I said, we're all going to have to be really, really good every week, every day, for the duration, to give ourselves every chance of picking up points.
The skipper, Boz, was on Matchday Preview Live with myself, pitchside at the weekend for the Pompey game. She mentioned that the quality and everything that you would expect to happen in Tier 2. What's it like as a manager? Has anything changed for you from Tier 3 to Tier 2?
Yeah, quite a lot. I mean, we were the dominant team in Tier 3, and there would be so many teams we would analyse that didn't really cause us much concern, and you could really just look at ways of imposing yourself on the opposition rather than taking too much into account of what sort of threats you might be under. So in some ways it didn't take too much, when now the opposition we're playing against, I think we look at Charlton last week, played 3 different shapes, 2 with the ball, 1 without. So you're preparing now for a lot more, there's a lot more to consider, it's a lot more complex, and you have to get it right, because some of these teams are so well established, they're so well drilled, and if you get one player, one position, one moment where you've caught, it can be a huge consequence on the game. So it takes a lot to prepare, because there's so much more now to analyse and consider against the teams we're playing against.
Connor, how good is it to see the women's game in general progressing like it should?
Yeah, obviously, the England women's team having some success over the last sort of 10 years has really, thrust it forward, and it's obviously getting a lot more media attention, and it's great to see it growing at the rate it's at.
Well, before we take a look at tonight's game, let's go back to October 2023, when Town travelled to Ashton Gate and came home with all 3 points after a hard-fought 1-0 victory.
But the Blues will be looking to pick up from where they left off as they face Bristol City at Ashton Gate under the lights. He's got Sykes outside him. Here is Sykes inside the Ipswich penalty area, looking to deliver towards Conway. Didn't get the direction though to really trouble Václav Hladký. Hladký, who will be looking to add to his collection of clean sheets at the start of this season. 5 so far. Here's Connor Chaplin, 25 yards out. Chaplin, Hurst. Nice tight play from Ipswich Town. Here is Luongo trying to curl one and it's parried away. Luongo on the far side. Infield to George Hurst. Here's Broadhead in a bit of space. Nathan Broadhead through the goalkeeper into the back of the net. Ipswich lead by a goal to nil at Ashton Gate. Ipswich Town, they've really grown into the game. A sluggish start the last 10 minutes. They have got their foot on the ball. They've started creating chances. And Nathan Broadhead has just lashed one. Enough cleanly there to win it back to Bristol City. Got to Hickman with the effort. Of course he has it in midfield for Ipswich Town. Longo with the chest control. Plays it forward and it runs through to Connor Chaplin, who's got Lee Davis driving away down the left-hand side. Jackson and Hurst in the penalty area. Might drop for Sam Morsey and hits one! It thunders against the post. There is Harry Cornick playing one across goal towards Yeboah, but Brandon Williams tracked it all the way then. Davis curled on the ball and the ball rolls across the goal line and Williams is able to clear away. Ipswich survive their first game here in over 12 years and they have just done that. Ipswich Town.
Well, let's hope for a similar result this evening. Right, the last time Town met Bristol City in the Championship, we won home and away. Obviously, we've had a season in the Premier League since then. Can we take anything from that, or is it too far gone, Connor?
I'd probably say it's too far gone. Obviously, it's nice that we've got a decent record there last time we went. But yeah, obviously, that's a couple of years ago now, and a lot's changed in between.
Yeah, a lot of players coming and going since that home and away win last season in the Championship. Ashton Gate under the lights, it's going to be a noisy atmosphere, but when you're on the road, is that how much players can enjoy the game more because sort of underdogs in the home environment?
Yeah, maybe. I think there's probably a lot of players that have experienced Ashton Gate before, so some I'm sure will have some good experiences there, and I think players will sometimes go to places and if they've had positive experiences, that can often work in their favour. But yeah, positive result, like we said there a couple of years ago. I think the supporters always travel well and sell out the away end, so they'll make it feel a little bit more homely under the lights. But yeah, I think it's all set up to put in a really strong performance and, like we said, build on the weekend's result.
How does the players' mentality change when you're playing away from home? Does it change?
I think you try not to let it change. Obviously, for some reason, playing at home in front of your home crowd, you do feel a little bit more comfortable at times. But you can often use being away to your advantage. Especially if you get on top early in the game and you make the home crowd sort of turn a little bit and get a little bit edgy. You can feel it and you can use that to your advantage in away games.
Yeah, there's no doubt. You said it earlier that the fans are going to be there in their numbers. Just that support we've had this season and last season and even the season before, it's just been incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's never surprised me, and I think I see something yesterday. I think away followings at Preston. I think only Ipswich have been outnumbered by Middlesbrough that went there. And considering the distance, that's super impressive. Again, brilliant numbers that travel to Blackburn. So I think the club have always been backed really well home and away in recent years, and yeah, their support tonight will be really important. I think to get behind the lads to play really well.
Bit of a fact here for you, Connor. Bristol City have scored and conceded in 9 of their last 10 home games. 2 questions. One, do players look at things like that and stats, and does that mean tonight we're going to have a bit of a lively contest on our hands?
Hopefully. I mean, when we're looking at prep for the game, obviously, I'm sure the manager will make it clear that obviously they're good going forward, but obviously they can be vulnerable at the back as well. And obviously, the manager will have pointed out sort of weaknesses that we're going to try and take advantage of. And then obviously it's up to the lads to try and go and put that into practice tonight.
On the other hand, Town haven't won away since April. Obviously, travelling in the Premier League is quite difficult, and obviously with that disappointing result away at the start of the season, how do you turn those negatives into a positive and finally get that win away from home?
I'm not sure the manager will look too much into that. I think what we do know is that they're very, very process driven, and preparing as best as they possibly can for every game, regardless if it's home and away, if it's on a Tuesday or a Saturday, and making sure that that the players are super ready to face the challenges, and ultimately as well try and impose our game on them, because we've got a really strong squad. We've seen in recent performances when they're really ticking, the damage that they can cause. So I'm sure that's something we're preparing to hopefully deliver tonight.
We've spoken a lot, Connor, about squad depth at this football club. We sort of spoke about it off air, that there's been a lot of changes tonight's game, 6 in total. We'll get onto that very shortly. But how much of an impact can these players make from the bench as well? See, Jayden Philogene, he's been on fire all season. He can make a real impact. And you feel like a game like tonight, under the lights, Tuesday, probably a little bit cold in Bristol, something special. There's going to be a moment, and we've got plenty of players that can produce that moment.
Yeah, we have. I said it's a privilege to be able to make as many changes as we have and still go into the game looking as strong as we do. Obviously the manager will be wary of utilising the squad, and obviously he's managed to do that this evening. Every one of the attacking lads, the ones who are starting, the ones who are on the bench and coming off to make an impact, everyone has got that ability to change a game, and hopefully one of them can pull something out tonight. Yeah,
we hope so too, that we're just looking for that bit of magic tonight. Well, we've got some magic from you, the fans, because we've been asking you to send in your questions to the guys. Thank you for those that have. We've got some in front of me now. Answer as honestly as you can, lads, if you don't mind. Right, the first one is for you, Connor. It comes from Harry. So thank you, Harry. When are you back, and who's your most inspirational player? Upper Town.
To be fair, obviously, ACLs are a long turnaround. You're sort of looking at 9 to 12 months. So, I'm hoping for towards the end of the season, depending on how the rehab goes. Obviously, there's a lot that can go wrong and go right in between that. So, hopefully, towards the end of the season, I'll be in and around it. And inspirational player, Ryan Giggs. I was left-footed when I was growing up. Ryan Giggs was sort of the left winger that I always sort of idolised my game on. Ryan Giggs.
Joe, this one comes from Charlotte. Who's the toughest opponent you've ever gone up against? I presume that means team.
Probably we've faced Man City a couple of times that have caused us some problems. So, both in FA Cup games and, both been away as well, which has been a bit unfortunate. And we'd love to have got them to Felixstowe or Colchester. But, probably Man City, playing them on a couple of occasions has been a really challenging fixture for us.
Do you think if you'd got them at Felixstowe, the game would have been slightly different?
Yeah, I think so. We played West Ham at Felixstowe in a quarter-final of the FA Cup, I think 3 or 4 years ago, and they beat us 1-0. And I think, the circumstances that we're able to provide for them in comparison to going up to their facility is a lot different. Obviously, the conditions, the weather and the pitch play a part as well. We're a bit more of a level for us. So, it could have definitely influenced the outcome of the result. Not necessarily say that we'd have won the game, but we might reduce the scoreline a little bit more.
Okay, the next one comes from Lee, and it is for Connor. He hopes the recovery is going well. Who's got a weird pre-match ritual or habit? I used to love these ones on Soccer AM, finding a little bit more about your teammates.
I don't know, to be honest. Put me on the spot a little bit. Yeah.
What's your usual pre-match routine?
Everyone's got obviously a routine. I just sort of stick to what I've done sort of all my career in terms of, how I get ready and how I prepare for games, in terms of, getting my body right and what I do. It's just a routine of what I do. Nothing special, nothing weird and funky.
Are you a headphones, earpods guy in before a game when you're walking out there, or do you sort of... I see Sammy Schmodix a lot. Sammy likes to talk to a few players if he knows anyone on the opposition. So I think he was having a chat with a few of the Pompey players pre-games, catching up with old friends. But what's your mental state as you go into a game?
Sammy likes to talk to anyone. I'm when we come in, usually got my headphones on. But obviously the lads have got the tunes on in the dressing room before a game. And for me personally, I'm just trying to focus in on what I'm doing, focusing on the game and what my task is. Yeah.
Okay, this next one is for both of you. It comes from Superblues 888. VAR in the Championship, yes or no? Start with you, Joe.
No.
Say no more. Connor?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. This one's from Jojo. How far do you think Kieran McKenna can take this Ipswich side? Connor, you're with him every day. What's it like?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously brilliant at what he does, and the back-to-back promotions. When I came in, obviously last summer, as soon as I was here for a couple of weeks, I seen why the squad had so much success and why they did what they did. And the squad we've got this season, you'd hope we'd be definitely up there and be confident of getting promoted. Obviously the Championship's a very tough league and it's an incredibly difficult one to get out of, but we've got more than enough in that dressing room to do it.
One final one very quickly. Sparky, thank you for this one. Are we beating Norwich next weekend?
Absolutely we are, yeah.
Absolutely we are, yes indeed. What's as a manager, what can you learn from Kieran McKenna? Are you able to have those sort of conversations with him?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we exchanged a few messages last week actually, and yeah, I think we're probably going through a similar kind of experience as the men did last year. So, we were used to being a team that would win every week last season. We're now winning less regularly. Of course, we won at the weekend, but yeah, just making sure that any bits of experience and advice that he can offer that I can utilise within our team off the back of anything that might be quite similar that we've both faced is obviously really useful. And yeah, he's always been great with stuff like that.
How much confidence does he give players in the dressing room? What's his man management skills like?
Yeah, great. I mean, he's even when you're not playing, he's always speaking about why and what he wants from you, personally. And obviously, his record here, it speaks for itself. So it's a pleasure to work under him. Last season was great. Even though I didn't play as much as I might have wanted, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and that's partly down to the manager.
And how important is his calmness? We see him in interviews. He's very straight-laced. Doesn't get too angry, doesn't get too excited if we win. It just feels like he sets the tone in the changing room.
Yeah, and I think he regulates his emotion, his behaviour, his manner absolutely impeccably, and I think obviously has a huge impact on the players and the performance of the team as well as the staff as well. And I think when we come back in after our game at the weekend on a Monday or a Tuesday, I think you can't tell if there's been a win or a loss with the first team. It's very well balanced. Things are the same people smiling, same people ready to go to work again to prepare for the next game coming up.
He feels like he's a gaffer that if you've got a question, Connor, like you were saying, you wish you were playing more, you could probably go and knock on his door and have that open and honest conversation.
Yeah, he does. As do all the staff. They're all very good at that, and that's massive, especially for a big squad like we've got. It's going to be hard to keep everyone happy day to day. Players want to play football, and that's probably Joel tell us, but probably the hardest thing about being a manager, I'd imagine, is trying to obviously still get the best out of everyone. And one thing that he does is the training group. Whether obviously the lads are playing or not playing, it's always really good. Standards are really high, and that's credit to him. Yeah.
And how do you deal with those difficult conversations that you've got to have, Joe? I think we spoke at a previous game and saying when you have to let players go, it's the hardest thing to do in football.
Yeah, I don't enjoy it. So particularly at the end of the season when players have contributed massively to the success of the team, and you have to make some really difficult decisions. And sometimes not just for the benefit of the club, but also the player. And I know the players may not always see that at that stage, but sometimes it is the right move for the player to move on and explore something different. But yeah, I don't enjoy them, but I try and do it as best as I can, despite not enjoying it. And same for regular team selections and stuff. We always make decisions as a staff. It's not just on me. It's something that we all agree on. Every staff member has an important say in that, and we try and get them decisions as right as we can. Yeah,
team selection must be very difficult for managers. So let's have a look at tonight's team taking on Bristol City. There are changes, plenty of them, 6 in total for Ipswich Town. I was surprised when I came in. I wasn't expecting that. Connor, when do the players find out what the starting 11 is going to be?
It changes, to be fair. I mean, for a normal Saturday game, it's usually on the Friday. We'll sort of go through shape in training, and everyone will know their role. With a quick turnaround like this, sometimes it's not always till earlier on today. I mean, usually we do sort of a walkthrough day of the game. When it's a night game, we usually do a morning walkthrough. So I'm not too sure if it was yesterday or this morning.
Well, those changes coming in there are Greaves, Nunez, McAteer, Akpon, Clark, and Athon. It's a lot of. It feels it's a bit game management, Joe, for those changes. But we were saying off air that starting 11's more than capable of going out and getting 3 points away at Bristol City. Yeah,
the depth in the team's brilliant, and we've also seen them players come on as well. We've seen Jack Clark's obviously been part of the team for some time now, but we've seen. Athon come on. We've seen. I ain't got my glasses on here. Obviously, Casey came on, and he's played some part in the season so far as well. So, although it looks like there's a lot of changes, there's also a lot of continuity there because many of those lads have come on and made an impact in the games previous.
Yeah, we're still so early on in the season, Connor. Just how important is it that all these players get those minutes to stay on top of fitness and finesse and everything like that?
Yeah, I mean, we're quite lucky at the minute that, touch wood, there's not many injuries. Obviously, I think me and Wes are the only two that are injured at the minute. By rotating the team, obviously you take some of that risk out of people, breaking down with injuries, and keeping everyone fit is going to be massive this season. Going forward, if we can keep the majority of the team fit for a large part of the season, I think it only helps us get the points that we want.
Well, we've got plenty of squad depth here at Ipswich Town, so let's take a look who is on the bench for this evening's game. Keeper, who I thought had a brilliant game at the weekend, and we had Wallet Egley. Tell us about him, because there was a lot of hype and jar. I think, again, we've spoken quite a lot of late, haven't we? We spoke about him and the expectation on his shoulders. I thought he had a good game for his first start against Portsmouth. Just what's he like in and around the changing room and on the pitch, more importantly?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's still a young lad. People forget how he's 19, and obviously I know we've spent a lot of money on him, but coming into the Championship from a foreign league is difficult. I don't care what anyone says. It's arguably in some terms harder than the Premier League. It's a lot more physical. It's a lot more in your face, and he's settled in really well. He's obviously finding his feet, and obviously great for him to get his first start, and he'll be a massive player for us this season and for the future.
We've got plenty of young, exciting players, but Ashley Young has joined the club at the start of the season. I mean, his name speaks for itself. What's he been like in and around the changing room, speaking to the lads? Do players lean on him for a bit of advice?
Yeah, 100%. You can't not. What he's done in his career is for our squad, he's head and shoulders above what any of the rest of us have done. So he's been great. He's come in, and obviously you can see what he brings on the pitch. He's obviously very talented, and he's still got life in his legs. Yeah, I don't think you look at him and think he's 40. He certainly doesn't look it. But even around the dressing room, his influence and how he's been, and it's great for the younger players. We've got a very young squad in terms of that, and having someone like him is brilliant for them to learn from.
Yeah, fantastic pro to have within our ranks. Right, that is your town starting 11. We can now turn our attention to Bristol City, and to take us through their lineup, we're going to head over once again to our lead commentator, Glenn Wheeler.
Yeah, thanks, Gurney. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Smashing Game. In terms of the Bristol City side, then, it's two changes from the side that drew at Preston at the weekend. Mark Sykes drops to the bench, and a notable absentee, Jason Knight, the skipper, has got an injury, and he misses out entirely. In goal, George Spanner and Neto Borges. In goal is the 21-year-old Manchester United loanee, Radek Vitek. Rob Dickey as centre-half will captain the side, with Knight absent.
Cheers, Glenn. Thank you very much for that. And you can catch Westy and Glenn on commentary very shortly. Connor, do you take much from the starting 11 at Bristol City? Do you look at the formation? Obviously, I know the gaffer and everyone else does, but as players, do you take a bit of time out to assess what you're coming up against?
Yeah, like I said, obviously the prep we do, it's drilled into us sort of what, the personnel, like if I'm talking about myself, I'll usually look at sort of who my winger is I'm coming up against, or if it's a 3-4-3, it's obviously a wing back, and I'll get clips on them as people, and I know a lot of our lads do. They ask, for individual clips on what they're coming up against, and that's just part of the preparation that goes into the game. So yeah, we sort of take note of it, but obviously at the same time we've got to go and impose ourselves and our own game on the game.
So do you get your own homework, as it were, sort of? Can you ask? Obviously, you can ask for it and go, "Can I have a look at this?" And we've got the facilities now to pull clips from, I'm sure, many different games. Does everyone do that?
Not everyone, I've done it sort of, especially since when I signed for West Brom. Obviously, it was a lot more available for me to get clips and do my homework, and that's something I've done, throughout my career since then. And I know a lot of the lads do that as well. It's not, it's not definite, but even without your own clips, you've still got obviously the team prep that we've done throughout the week, and that's usually enough insight into what we're coming up against.
The Championship is a relentless division. We were chatting off there that it's Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. But what comes with that is that, like you were saying, kind of, you can get 9 points and all of a sudden you might be 14th. You're in playoffs, or you're even higher.
Yeah, I think, when we look at this week in particular, picking up a good result Sunday, we've got the chance Saturday, we've got a chance tonight to hopefully add to that. And that takes us into a really good position going into Sunday's game. So as Connor said, you have a chance to pick up 9 points in the space of a week really propels your season, and we've certainly got the squad and the team and the staff to deliver on that.
Yeah, and hopefully we can get a win tonight, and then we've got the big one on Sunday going into the international break. How important is it, Connor, to go into that with the continued momentum that we've got from the previous 2 home games?
Yeah, obviously, it's not a secret. We've obviously not beaten them for a long time, and it was one of the first things that the fans had said to me when I joined. Obviously, we didn't play them last year because we were in the league above, but it's a massive opportunity for the boys, and we know how big it is for the fans and for us to hopefully put that to bed.
What are you expecting to see from Bristol City tonight? Do you expect them to get on the front foot, be in the home side?
Yeah, tough one actually, because I think they will be very aware of how good we could be and are. So it'd be interesting to see whether, they give us sort of that level of respect, or they feel like they're at home and they're obviously higher than us in the league and really sort of take us on and impose their style. So yeah, it'd be a really interesting test. But I think like we've said countless times now, we've made some changes, but the squad's great. The team that we've put out is very capable of performing very well and picking up 3 points.
Yeah, 6 changes in total. One of them is Ivan Azon, and earlier on, Andy Warren from Town TV spoke to the forward to get his thoughts ahead of tonight's game.
Ivan here at Ashton Gate, Bristol City, the opponents tonight. How's everyone feeling?
Really good, really good. We want to have a nice game. We want to win. We want to still win after the win at home, and be really good outside also, and try to give our best.
First start for you in an Ipswich shirt after a few appearances from the bench. How excited are you for that?
Yeah, really happy, really exciting for me. Want to give my best always, and yeah, I will try to do it well. But yeah, really nice.
And what do you think the big challenges are tonight?
It's a really good team. We have been preparing this game with only 2 days, so it's gonna be like a bit harder. But it's really nice and really good stadium, really good atmosphere. So give our best and try to take the victory.
Thank you very much, Ivan. Good luck.
Looking forward to seeing Ivan up top tonight for the Blues. What's another player we've had come in over the summer? What's his adaptation been like to English football?
Yeah, it's always tough, like I said, coming in. It's good for him. He's got Nachos, obviously signed, so them two can speak Spanish to each other. But no, he's fitted in with the lads brilliantly. It can be hard coming to a new country, a new culture. But the lads are great. They've been very welcoming to all the new lads, and he's fitting in great.
And a big opportunity for him tonight. He's patiently been waiting to get his chance. He's got it tonight. Hopefully, he can deliver 3 points for the Blues and maybe nick a goal.
Yeah, and I think that will do no harm for his confidence. Came on and been really busy. It's an effort close to his first goal at the weekend. And yeah, I think he'll absolutely embrace his opportunity tonight and hopefully perform really well. And if he can contribute through an assist or a goal, I say it would do him no harm going into this weekend.
Kickoff is edging closer. On Saturday, we asked Boz and Adam Tanner for a prediction. I'm not going to ask you, Connor, because I don't think it's fair to make a player put a prediction. But I feel, because we've got you here, Joe, what do you think the score is going to be tonight away at Bristol City?
I'll go 2-0.
2-0? You'll echo that as well, won't you?
I'd have gone with, something similar. So, yeah.
Okay, a quick reminder that there are no restrictions for international supporters for tonight's game, so you can watch it with a match pass or through Town TV Plus. For subscribers, you'll be able to listen to the full audio commentary with Ian Westlake and Glenn Wheeler. All that's left for me to do is say a big thank you to our guests. Connor, we wish you all the best with the recovery. We hope to see you out there very shortly. Big thanks to you, the fans, for sending in your questions. More of them to come as we progress through the season. And, of course, to our sponsors, Fleximize. If you're watching the game, enjoy it. If not, we'll see you all here at Portman Road for the big one. Good night.
Just like football, business moves fast. And when you need funding, there's no time to wait. At Fleximize, we keep things simple. No penalties, no red cards, just fast, flexible business loans. We only ask for the essentials and you'll get a decision within 24 hours. Once approved, the funds are in your account the same day. Fleximize, let's fund your goals.
It's a new season, a new challenge, a new home, some new faces, the same support.
The Pesket is there on the follow-up to make it 3.
We need you again. Let's do this together.
When we started this, did we ever think we'd have a partnership with a football club? Absolutely not. This is beyond our wildest dreams. We pretty much exclusively hire graduates at Halo. We're very proud of our Suffolk roots. Halo's a pretty passionate, positive, enthusiastic place generally, but when you've also got what's going on at the football club, and it's just blending passion and enthusiasm.